Readme cleanup. HTTPS.
Yeah, so there were broken links. HTTP changed to HTTPS, including the documentation in a later comment.
Question is, how many links to Lombic did you inject in this one?
You have to review it, but it's open source. So.
No. Okay. Good. Farewell Codeplex. It's correct. Good catch. Didn't think about it. Yeah. Okay. Bumping version numbers. This is also good. This is the easiest one. This profile changes. What is that? What are you doing here? Is it a merge or what is that? No.
No, so there was a change in file system storage provider. It's an early commit a few days before that one, adding the ability or to actually automatically remove image profile images when you remove a media file, but it caused an exception in one of the tests, so I changed the logic a little bit. Yeah. So that was just fixing some logic, not to break the test. That one is just for development, and yeah, and the next one is basically I implemented the same thing for Azure Blob Storage. So it's the same logic, slightly different implementation because it's working a bit differently, but the same logic for Blob Storage as well.
Okay, this one is harder than changing the version numbers.
Yeah, there were some merge errors, but I managed to resolve them, and it seems that the tests are okay as well. So
Interesting.
There were some things that broke, but I fixed them. So it seems that we didn't break anything that is at least detectable with tests. Yeah. Yeah, this is fixing an exception that was that happened during setup, and yeah, it's just a small fix.
I'm confused. So we have a site like this. Then I was wrong, Antoine. I completely forgot we had a site like this. So yes, we need to update the mkdocs file. Interesting.
Changed. So thanks, Antoine, for that.
I didn't remember that. Oh my god. I was still in my mind. We still used Bertrand's site that he made for documentation.
No, I did it on Orchard 1 before to do it on.
I remember, but yeah. Oh my god. Okay, good job, everyone.
So yeah, the new read is not should be accessible. I don't know what's the update interval.
Yes, so you said the new release note should be there on the site somewhere. But there is no link to them, okay? I think we never put any link. Oh, did we? No, we didn't. But notes.
Is it processed immediately?
Yeah.
Oh.
As soon as you merge, it's done.
Oh, okay. I probably didn't do it correctly then.
Whoa. Yes, so what you said is that you created the updating. Where are the results here? If I go on file tree, it says under documentation. Oh, there is another site, right?
Yeah, that's a different repo. It's yeah, it's not like Orchard Core. Orchard Docs or Doc, I think. Check Doc.
And then docs, and then documentation. Yeah, that should be that. Well, maybe it's not updated automatically anymore. How do we know? Because it's still on their side, so yeah, Antoine, you have access to that.
I have no idea. I just added it to the YAML file.
Yeah, Antoine will tell us because there is a CI on their side that will do that.
I can build it manually, but it's weird. Build version.
And there is only one version, so I don't know. Builds triggered 0 minutes ago. Past 5 months. Okay, so you triggered it manually because it wasn't triggered automatically. Maybe the hook is not working anymore.
Maybe.
And yeah, maybe there is an expiration, I don't know, for the hook. And the last one was 5 months ago. Okay, maybe there's a hook issue. If you can log in, I don't know. I don't have access to that, I think. Good. Yeah, but
okay, so basically 1.10.3 is really ready. I think I need to update the tag. So basically create a new release with a build, but that's easy. After that, I think this is done. I still owe us documentation for the dynamic compilation stuff. So I haven't done that yet.
And I was about to say update the Orchard project site, but it's not like the old one. So I used to go on the old one and change the widgets and everything. Oh, there is something we need to do. Because so here, is there a download something? Download. Okay, so that will show up here. And there is something though that we need to do in this site, which is that on the dashboard of every Orchard site, it loads a static file from our Orchard.net project with the links to the latest version and reads and everything. And so there must be a static file somewhere on this site that does that, and I will do it. And it's just that. Let's see. No, I do it later. Doesn't have to be done here. And this site is still a static site. That would be good to migrate it to a core site once we have beta 3. Even more that this is the same theme and same content type, so super easy. Okay, good. Thank you very much, Benedek. So as soon as you have the new tag, I will change the static file to point to the new release, and we'll say it's the release. And be prepared to get everyone updated, and also make a new release, because they will find issues.
Yeah. And by the way, the release will be for the same as the current one.
What do you mean?
1.10.3, so you can use the same URL as what we have now for the pre-release.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. So so basically, if there's any problems with the with this release, should we do a 1.10.4 to fix these, or
I don't
just
remember.
fix them on that?
1.10.3.1. I don't know what we did last time.
I think we didn't have like a release like that.
I'll check. We'll decide if we have issues.
We won't have.
We will. That's how it works.
Yeah, I know. It's software, so it will break.
Well, if there are bugs, I can fix. If there is a critical thing, then we'll update something. I don't remember the time. So 110x. I don't remember what we did when we had like critical right after the release issues. And I don't see anything here, like tags. I don't see any tag. That's weird. Well, we didn't ship for 3 years, so let's go further. 1.10.1. No, nothing special. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's a good job. Thank you very much. That's a lot of work. Nobody knows, but it is.
Yeah. So 1.11 is the next target. So.
Yep. So we'll wait a few days and then we'll release 1.11. Then
we have a bunch of bugs to fix first, so it's
okay. A few days. Everything is just a few days ago. A few days later. So this one 2 weeks, but not much things actually. I was busy. Defer task. So let's see the dev branch first, because there are lots of things from Jean-Thierry on other branches. Origin/dev. Okay. What? Okay. Because I need to check out dev first. I was surprised. Check out. Origin/dev. Then, not that much still. So, Peter Davis, add OpenID config input hints for redirect URIs. I think we talked about it. Just some hints, documentation on the UI. Updating dependencies on what? Yeah, I'm upgraded to ASP.NET Core 2.2.2. All the things that need to be updated. I think security patches. And cron tab, because now it's using that standard to 0, so less references. And this one because some references, yeah, some things here. So it's no more because of cron tab, but some things in this list, like from MVC, for instance, are referencing all versions of these libraries. So we need to reset a reference to these libraries so that it will use the version we force from this file. And one day we'll go on ASP.NET Core 3.0, which won't have this issue anymore. and yeah, I removed that from this project because it was because of uncron tab. Now it's no more because of uncron tab, it's because of one of these projects that are referenced in this core navigation project. Lucas fixes plural localization in the DispayManagement project. Fixes plural localization. There were some issues open about that, and he fixed them. Refactored also where the interfaces are, well, the extensions are. So good things. Fixed the plural extension. Still in abstraction. Well, now it's in abstraction and not in DispayManagement, localization abstractions. That's opinionated, but that's fine. Opinion. To have this extension somewhere in the abstractions, because it will work only for English or whatever has only two variations. The recommendation is that based on your default main language, to have your own plural that will take as many variations as you need in your language. For instance, English, French, Spanish is just 2 plural forms, but you might have more. Well, actually I'm wrong, because the ones he made are using string array, so whatever number of plural forms. Okay, so that's not opinionated, that's generic. Good. Nick fixed some issues with GraphQL. Well, added options to GraphQL, so you can hide properties and fields from the GraphQL entity. Adding documentation for meta tags. Someone asked, how do you do that? And whenever someone asks, how do you do that, if we have time, we try to answer by adding documentation. So in this case, it was how to render a meta tag from Liquid, and nothing more to implement because it was already there, just needed some documentation. IndexingTaskManager prefix. So someone, I think it was Jeff, who found an issue. Jeff or Thierry Fleury, I don't remember. That the script to migrate from Meta2 was not, no, the script in this one, and there was another issue later, yes, Thierry found it there, was not taking the table prefix into account, so it only worked with a default tenant without table prefix. This one added a content item, which, yeah, so fixing the PR from earlier, fixing IndexingTaskManager, which didn't have the table prefix here also. Adding shape cache liquid tag. This is to react to Seth comments on Gitter. Seth wanted to customize the menu shape. It happens that currently the menu shape is rendered using menu liquid tag helper, which is very specific for the menu and didn't have any generic or general options for shapes. But we want to use the menu, but the menu liquid tag helper was also doing caching. So what we didn't have was a way to change the caching property of any shape. So this is what I added. So now in Liquid, you can, when you render a shape, you can also alter the shape by saying shape cache. So there are many shape liquid helpers, liquid tags, sorry, shape liquid tags to alter a shape. So to create a shape, to add alternates, to add classes, and then now you can also set the caching properties of the shape by doing shape cache, the name of the shape, the variable, and then the properties, cache ID, cache expires after, so and that's it. You tag. So this way you can create a menu shape like this, create a menu shape, and then you can also change cache properties in 2 different steps, and then also add custom CSS classes. So we don't have to rely on a specific menu tag that will have everything. We can use generic ones. Okay. Shape cache tag. Okay. Other questions? I see it's flashing. Nope. Fix some typos during translation. Alternative. Yes. I didn't see his commit, probably because I didn't see the PR. Probably because there was no PR. Then. Okay. Typos, other typos. Carl, fix that GraphQL where statements have a suffix of part and part names. So reacting, I assume, on the PR that was adding the notion of removing the part suffix. You also need to remove them in the where statements. Fix and reference exceptions in MediaField. This could be null. So now handling that. So if you don't have any media linked to a media field, then this could be null. Adding claims to the list of available properties. This one from a comment yesterday, someone asking how do you get the claims from the identity, and said oh, it was not obvious because it was not documented. So David decided to document it. After I said maybe it's faster to just document it than just saying, oh, I found the issue. And David, I saw you were here.
Yes, I'm here.
And I will go in the forum, and that's, oh, you're still talking. Why are you talking? We're on a meeting. Here, yesterday, you were part of the discussion about documentation. And I'm like, poor guy, maybe we lost a contributor. Well, I don't think so, but you need to explain to me, because my English is not my mother tongue, so sometimes I don't understand what's written or all the meanings behind the words in English. And here I was just, so let's clarify something. So we were like, okay, we should just write some documentation, and then boom, you wrote the documentation. Then he says, well, actually you just wrote a property, and if you point to the main MSDN documentation, we will have all list of properties. And I say, yeah, that's a good way to do that also. A link to the official documentation is good too. Okay, but you didn't do that. Nobody is blaming you from not doing that. I mean, we could add that for sure. And then you said, yep, to me, which is why I asked Spencer what the syntax he found was. I always suck going, figure it out.
Yeah, because that's how it started. He just said, I figured it out. And so
yeah,
I wanted it documented, right? So that's why I went through this whole thing.
Yeah, when I read that, I was like, and why did I feel like you were telling him, you should not have answered, I figured it out. You should go further and fix it. That's what I got when you wrote that.
Yeah, basically, that's why I said it should be documented, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because he just wrote, I figured it out, and so I asked him,
you were complaining,
what was the syntax he used so it could be documented? Yeah.
But new contributor Spencer. Hopefully we'll write more documentation when he finds issues. And CQ is back. Good. I didn't see his messages. I need to check. Good. So yeah. So if also something we mentioned. If something is missing in documentation, you just go on the site from GitHub. Don't clone anything. It's super easy. You go on the, let's say you look for something you want to add, like let's say identity dot claims. We didn't find it. Okay, so go back in the source, let's take any MD file, let's say this one, okay, any documentation. The nice thing is that that's a bad example, but I want to get a good example. Go to a module, src, and I don't have a fork, so it will work. So MVC modules, GraphQL, and there is a Readme. So this is documentation. Okay, we can see it here. Very nice. And let's say you want to add something, you just click. You don't have to clone anything. You click edit, and when you click edit, it will fork the repository, let you edit in place the things. You can preview the changes, okay, and it will show you with red and green what's added and what's removed. And from there you can just say, okay, commit changes, and even if I have access to the repo, I can say create a new branch. Well, in your case, if you don't have access to the repository, it will create a fork and a branch in your fork, and you can do one change, then go to another file, do another change, and add it to the same branch. And when you're done, you can create a pull request directly from the editor, so you don't have to clone anything to edit the content. Because we have a nice WYSIWYG experience here, we can write documentation directly in GitHub. So that's super easy to fix something, a typo or adding some lines in a table, because so if you have a question and you find a solution, you should just document it for the next one, not to have to look for it. Just little demo. No cloning, no forking, no pushing, no merging, nothing. It will be all done in GitHub. That will be super easy. Okay, that's it. With that, just to see what's happening, the PRs we are on flight, and I will look at them on the GitHub repo, because there are many of them. Getting late, but I don't want also to accept anything that will go in dev. From fear I could break things. New contributor, Sitemaps module. I haven't checked the code, but that's interesting. Is taking iDeliverable SEO as an example, and I know Jasma is commenting on that. Configurable upload limits. I didn't merge that. I will explain what it is. Theme. This also, we can talk about it. We got a demo on Thursday. I can talk about it. And the rest will be either merged or reviewed. Nothing special here. Okay. Sitemaps. So Sitemaps module, so related to SEO, which is in this branch, and I think that the exchange on Gitter at some point about should it be there or not, but there are two branches right now, two PRs. I haven't looked at the code and I don't know what it does. Jasmine suggested to be able to create multiple sitemaps, which is kind of weird, right? Why would you do that? Be able to select on which sitemap a content type should be indexed. Why would you have multiple sitemaps? What's the point?
Oh, you can. Normally, you should be able to use multiple sitemaps because you just can.
I didn't know. Like for me, it's like there is one entry in the optionally a link in the main page to the XML file, which contains all the links.
Yeah, but for example, for e-commerce, you have products that don't change much, and for news, you have things that change.
So you don't have to change all the files. You can subsection, so it will just reparse sections of
Yeah, instead of just doing all the website. Yeah.
But at the same time, when you create a sitemap file, I see. So you don't have to generate the file for the full sitemap, for the full site. You can just generate the file for a section of the site. It's like includes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Harder to maintain. I see. Yeah, but I think you should start with one file because it will be easier. Otherwise, we'll block on complexity. But if it was not, so my idea is about the sitemap, and I think that's how it works in some modules in Orchard 1. We should do the same way Matthias is doing for the admin menu. that you can configure entries in the sitemap from different providers and you don't need to reorganize them, but just add steps like to generate sitemap. We'll be able to reorganize them when we want to support multiple sitemap files in this case. So you will create multiple sections which are different files, and each section can be configured. And the full sitemap is made of these sections, each section being a different file. But right now we could just have like a list of sources for the sitemap, and have sources come from anything, from queries, from taxonomies, from list of content items per content type, from e-commerce modules and everything. So I don't know how I did that, but that's how I would do that. I checked the implementation, and I don't remember what it was in Orchard 1. I know I'm using one module for the sitemap in Orchard 1, but I don't remember which one. I don't think it was ID deliverable. We'll check. Okay, so there is a sitemap PR. Good job. Configurable upload limits. The idea being that when we upload media items, by default it's limited to 30 megabytes because that's a hard limit in Kestrel and in IIS. And this PR adds the media limit attribute just for this upload media. So you're not supposed to reuse it. It's configured for that. And there is a configuration which is added to the media module configuration. Two new properties: max request body size in case you upload many files in the same request, and max file size for each file. Okay, and it will block the request. It won't even send the content. So by default, this is a default value, 30 megabytes approximately. Okay, so if you want to resize it, you can. If you want to accept bigger files, you can redefine it. We'll match that. Allow theming for login, registration, reset password. I don't know if Thierry updated that since the last comment. Yes, I have to check now. So the idea is that so right now, if you want to configure, to customize the login, registration, and reset password screens, it has to be in the admin because only the admin is serving these screens right now. The reason is that you might not have a front end and you still want to be able to log in. And at the same time, maybe you have a front end, but maybe you don't want to have to customize the login because maybe your front end CSS will clash with the login forms. So you want them to be isolated, and that's why we do that in the admin section. Because most of the time, if you have a website, even an e-commerce, well, when you authenticate, that's fine to go to the admin theme. Not everyone should authenticate. So Thierry's issue was that he wants to be able to customize it without having to create a custom admin theme. That's completely understandable. So the solution we are implementing here, or is implementing, is to create a custom well, show me change that, to create a custom filter theme selector. Okay, users theme selector. So it's a custom theme selector that coming from a feature, which is not the case here right now unless it's in the startup, that will select the front end theme if you go to any controller of the user login, registration, reset password. This way it will select the front end theme to render these pages. So if you enable this feature, you will be able to customize, to use the views from your front end theme. Okay, and that will fix an issue that has been raised many times when you want to customize it. So we'll just copy paste the views from the admin theme, the default one, or from the module, and just customize the views as you want. Okay, that's the idea. And apparently here it's a setting. That's good. So it's when you enable the feature, it's a setting, or is it on the default feature? Probably settings on default feature, so not a feature, but settings on the default feature that you can check to say, oh, use the front end theme to render the views and not the back end theme. That's even better. Good job. So I will try that, or ask anyone to try it and say it works, and we'll merge it. So if you want to try it, if you need to render your views in the front end, please do that. Jasmin, I'm not sure if you have done something like that. I think you customize the admin, but maybe not the same for the same reason. Use site theme. Yeah.
I'm actually using this for myself.
You are using it?
Yep.
It works?
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
The only thing is that I needed to change some views, the login view, and to match the design that I had. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's the goal, right? To be able to. Well, first goal is that it will use a front-end theme, so maybe it will just work using Bootstrap, and you will get the same color scheme and everything. And second step is to be able to change the views if you want to. So that's good. I like it.
Yeah.
So let me check quickly. Using selector. Settings, raw data, count. I saw 1 or 3 settings. Don't recall. On group ID. 1 setting. So what is that? Edit, login settings, edit, registration settings, edit, reset password settings, edit. What is that? Confused.
There's a setting for the reset password view also.
Login settings, that's a new file, and there is registrations. Oh, wait. I see. No, I think his concern was that. Okay, so this is the registration settings page. The users whose email address will not be said. Use site theme for registration page. Use site theme.
It's a checkbox.
Yes, but I just saw 1 property, and here I see 3 different things. Use site theme, registration settings. Oh, no, okay. There are 3 different settings. Okay, he's updating the 3rd. Okay, that's weird, no, that to be able to have the login but not the registration, wouldn't you do that on all pages? Okay, I'll check, and I think there is another issue that might be related. We'll see. Good. Thank you, Jasmin, for testing it. And metadata module. So we got a demo on Thursday from Seth. I assume we'll get a demo here at some point when it's ready. So this adds the part that you can set on the content type, so you can define all the SEO custom fields like description, custom title, open graph, Twitter, things like this. We gave some feedback. I think we talked about being able to do that in the we put some feedback here, and then we talked during the meeting to be able to put it in a tab, because it was adding lots of content on the default editor, so to have something tabbed, and also to be able to set global settings, default values that can be tokenized with Liquid, so you can generate the values based on the content of the content item itself, and optionally being able to set a custom value for each content item. But that looks good already. So good job. And that's it for the PRs. On my side, I've done some work this weekend on Fluid for the liquid templating. I improved the perf very significantly, like it's allocating 10 times less, and it's rendering at least 30% faster. And the next step is to improve the parser itself, which is fast, like it takes like 50 microseconds, not milliseconds, microseconds to parse a small template, but it could be faster. But the rendering already, it was fast, now it's even faster, and look, it's less. So I won't update it, I think, for this release, because it might be risky and we don't need that to be super fast. It's already super fast, but to be faster, we don't care. And I might introduce some breaking changes. One breaking change I might introduce is that, and it will have a huge impact, so I need to think about it. And I saw it in the shapes documentation. So if I go on the shapes documentation, I will show you. And I think that's the only place where you use something like this. So shapes. Liquid. So here, if I do shape tags here, this is not one, this is not one, this one. Yes, so here you see in liquid we have, this is a tag name, okay, this is a bad example. This is a bad example. So maybe I'm wrong, but so the change I wanted to do was that right now in the filters with Fluid you can have named arguments. I don't have an example here, but in Liquid you are not supposed to have named arguments. See, like a next name argument, something like that, next class colon the value. So this is not a filter, so that could be part of the syntax of this tag, that's fine, but otherwise I don't see any example with filters where we shape filters. Let's see, shape filters here, they don't have arguments. Maybe the queries, they don't have arguments either. So maybe that's fine, but that's something I want to remove, being able to have named arguments and filters, because it's not standard Liquid, and the syntax is not documented anywhere in Liquid, so that's concerning. I like to keep it simple. That's something I might change for the next version of Fluid, and that will impact Orchard. We'll see where it's used. I'll check. Here, okay, there's an example. Boom. Query content type limit. You see the word content type and the word limit are there, and I want to remove them. So it will be just by position. Like maybe the first will be the blog post and the second will be the limit. Okay, that's something I like to do. That's it. Questions? Focusing, I think I created, we triaged 3 bugs for beta 3 at least to be checked, but it's pretty simple. One of them is not triaged, but it's concerning because it doesn't work on Azure App Services, which is from, I think, Peter, which is Azure, yes, this one. So this one I will triage because that's very bad. If you deploy your OpenID certs on Azure, it doesn't work. Well, at least the certs generation doesn't work on Azure. He found a mitigation, but we need to find something that works everywhere. and I mentioned Peter because actually he was part of the discussion, and I will milestone it to beta 3. The other one didn't seem to be that critical or hard to implement. Plural form not found exception. Manipulating rows to elevate your permission. This is a security issue, but that's easy. Just we have to check permission before being able to set permissions. Code generation template is outdated, so template is outdated, should be easy to fix. And this one is hard to reproduce, and we'll fix it with a PR that Thierry has already worked on. That's it. Questions? Lots of talks about documentation. David is the new master of documentation, so David, feel free to create new articles about Orchard. The main idea from last week being that we have some technical documentation about how to handle the API and how to do small things, but nothing like tutorials or A to Z article, cookbook type, like I want to build a site that does that, how do I do it? I want to use this module, how do I do it? And so on. Like, yeah, so more complete tutorial-like articles, which sometimes are on blog posts from David Hayden, from Sipke, but we need more of them, like official ones that are maintained and explain all the things you can do. And we have all the knowledge, we just need to put it down on an article. The issue is that it takes time. Or find money to get someone to write them. Okay? It's funny because I talked about it. I think David, you mentioned that. Yes, because someone was saying on Symfony they have articles like this, and then David mentioned maybe they have someone who's paid for that on Symfony to write articles like this. And then yesterday my manager mentioned, hey, what if we had money from Microsoft to pay someone to write documentation? And I say yes, and I know people who will write them, who will write the documentation if we had the money. So yes, that's funny because we talked about it yesterday exactly. So Therese is starting Orchard Core. Great to see you back. Python is not as good as C#, right? And Django is not as good as Orchard Core. Yep. Okay, good. If you have new sites release online, let me know. I will add them to my custom own list. I want to see what you are doing. And feel free to send the feedback, even the bad one, even more for the bad one. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday or next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.